Welcome to the realm of science fiction. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. Enjoy listening. Guard Matt Baker had no idea that the day he was about to face would bring him more action than he'd ever seen. After waking up and getting dressed, he received a message on his phone. A new inmate had arrived at the prison, and the news was unsettling. This wasn't just any criminal. Matt assumed his friend was joking, so he dismissed the message. However, after multiple attempts to reach him, Matt decided to call his friend Kevin. "What's going on? Who would believe this?" Matt asked, frustrated. Kevin's voice was urgent. "Matt, we need your help. We can't contain her. She's not like anyone we've seen before." Matt snapped back. "If this is some kind of prank, I swear I'll knock you out." Without waiting for a response, Matt hung up the phone and headed to the prison. When Matt arrived, chaos was unfolding. Shouts, running guards, and the eerie sound of hands slamming against steel doors echoed through the building. As he entered, he could see the frenzy firsthand. Guards were trying to calm the prisoners down, and some were frantically giving orders. Several guards were on the ground, clearly having been involved in some kind of struggle. In the midst of this madness, Matt's eyes were drawn to one figure in the crowd. Amidst the flashing neon lights, she stood out, her body adorned with zebra-like stripes. Her ears were pointed and sharp, and her long black and white hair was intricately braided. Her eyes gleamed with an alien intelligence. Though her hands were shackled, her posture was threatening, as if she could break free at any moment. Matt took a deep breath and immediately called Kevin. When he found him amidst the turmoil, he demanded, "Is this the cause of all this mess?" Kevin wiped the sweat from his forehead and nodded. "Yes, Matt. We have no idea how to handle her. She's neither behaving like a human nor an animal. She's hurt several of our guys." Matt paused for a moment, then turned to the surrounding guards with determination. "Everyone out. I'll talk to her alone." Although there were objections, none could defy Matt's commanding gaze. One by one, the guards filed out, leaving Matt alone with the zebra woman. The room fell into a heavy silence as Matt stepped toward her, trying to read the emotions on her face. "What's your name?" he asked. She narrowed her eyes at him, then tilted her head slightly, responding with a calm but strong voice, "Phoenix." Matt took a moment to take in her appearance, her zebra-patterned skin, both mesmerizing and unsettling in its surrealism. After a pause, he asked the first question that came to mind. "What's with the outfit?" As she shifted her shackled hands, she chuckled softly, a sound that seemed to both challenge and carry a hint of sadness. "I used to steal zebras and sell them as exotic creatures to different planets. I made a lot of money doing that. But one morning, I woke up and found myself in the same zebra-like pattern as the creatures I once sold." Matt shivered slightly at the supernatural aspect of her story. He squinted at her suspiciously. Then, after a moment of contemplation, he stepped back and asked, "How did you end up on Earth?" Phoenix, looking him straight in the eyes, continued her story. She told him how escaping wasn't easy, how something had gone wrong in space. Her spacecraft's systems failed, causing a violent jolt, and she was forced to crash land on Earth. Before impact, she managed to open her capsule and escape, but by the time she landed, she was caught. Matt considered the possibility that she might be a space smuggler, but there was something about her story that suggested a deeper mystery. He took a deep breath, trying to calm himself before speaking in a more measured tone. "Do you want to go back to your colony?" Phoenix's gaze softened slightly, and after a moment of silence, she nodded. "Yes, this place, Earth, it's not my home anymore. I don't belong here." Matt, after a brief pause, promised her, "I'll find a way to get you back." That night, after the prison settled down, Matt walked through the corridors toward Phoenix's cell. She was sitting with her back to the bars, her black and white body accentuated by the dim lights. Her eyes gleamed from the darkness as she noticed him approach. Matt quietly asked about her colony, wanting to know who he could contact to make arrangements for her return. Phoenix tilted her head slightly as she studied him. Then she shared the details, names, contacts, how communication could be made. As Matt absorbed the information, Phoenix's voice suddenly took on a teasing tone. If you help me get back to space, Matt, how about you come over to my place for a night? She flashed a smile that was both playful and inviting. Matt paused for a moment, processing her words. Then, with a knowing smile, he replied, I'm not sure that's part of the deal, Phoenix. With a light laugh, Phoenix leaned back in her seat. Oh, come on, Matt. Let's just say, I like to make things interesting. Matt worked through the night, accessing the prison's computer systems and looking into the details of Phoenix's colony. After confirming some of the information with her contacts, he received the green light. Phoenix could be returned to her colony. The next morning, he returned to Phoenix's cell and gave her the news. Phoenix's eyes softened for a brief moment, a faint smile tugging at her lips. But there was something unreadable in her gaze, a secret she kept hidden beneath the surface. After informing the prison officials and getting their approval, Matt and Phoenix were escorted to a special transport ship. As the vessel lifted off from the prison grounds, Matt glanced out the window, watching Earth shrink beneath them. The reality of what he was doing was starting to settle in. He was leaving the planet, heading toward space, with Phoenix by his side. As the ship ascended, Matt turned to her, his voice serious but soft. When we get there, there's one thing I want you to do. Phoenix raised an eyebrow. What's that? Matt met her gaze. Apologize for what you did. Phoenix looked at him for a long moment, and though the challenge in her eyes remained, she finally took a deep breath and nodded. Fine, she said simply. But just as Matt felt relieved, Phoenix's voice rang out again, this time with a teasing tone. But don't get too used to me listening to you, Matt. Matt chuckled lightly. I didn't say you had to be quiet, just do the right thing. Phoenix leaned in closer, her voice a whisper. Let's see if you can keep me in check, Matt. The journey to Phoenix's colony was long, and over time, the banter between her and Matt became a comfortable part of their routine. They talked about everything, her past as life on Earth, their experiences, and in between they teased and flirted, each trying to push the other's buttons. When they finally arrived at the colony, the ship touched down gently and the doors opened. Phoenix, for the first time, lowered her usual defiance and respectfully bowed her head. I'm sorry for what I did, she said, her voice sincere. I accept responsibility for all of it. I promise I won't make the same mistakes again. I'm truly sorry. The colony officials nodded, their expressions acknowledging her apology. As they escorted Phoenix away, Matt watched her, knowing that their journey was far from over. She had asked for forgiveness, and he had helped her take that first step toward redemption. But in the back of his mind, Matt knew that their connection was more than just a mission. It was the beginning of something else entirely. Later that evening, as they settled into a new home provided by the colony, Phoenix turned to Matt with a playful glint in her eye. Now that I've apologized, what are you going to do, Matt? Matt smiled softly, his eyes never leaving hers. I think I'm done being a guard. Phoenix stepped closer, her voice a soft whisper in the air. Then will you be my guide tonight? And so, their new life began, one filled with adventure, mystery, and the promise of things yet to come. The days passed in a blur. Matt and Phoenix explored the colony, adjusted to their new lives, and continued to grow closer. One evening, as they sat together, Phoenix asked, What do you think, Matt? Matt took a deep breath, looking into her eyes. I think I want to stay here. Phoenix's eyes widened slightly before a smile broke out across her face. Really? She asked, her voice laced with a playful surprise. Matt nodded, his expression serious but softened by the lingering tension between them. Yeah, I'm serious. I've never been more sure about anything in my life. Phoenix stepped closer, her zebra-striped skin almost glowing in the dim light. Her fingers brushed against Matt's arm, sending a shiver down his spine. The air between them thickened with unspoken words, but neither of them seemed eager to break the moment just yet. Then I guess we're both in the same boat now, Phoenix said, her voice taking on a more thoughtful tone as she met his gaze directly. But I want you to understand, Matt, this is not going to be easy. I'm not the kind of woman who can be tamed. Matt chuckled softly, his gaze fixed on her. I'm not looking to tame you, Phoenix. I'm just here, ready to face whatever comes next with you. She raised an eyebrow, her lips curving into a smirk. Is that so? Phoenix moved closer, her breath warm against his ear. You think you're ready for everything that comes with me? Matt met her challenge with a steady gaze, his resolve unshaken. I'm more ready than you think. They stood there for a moment, the world outside seeming to fall away as they allowed the connection between them to deepen. But it didn't last long. Phoenix broke the silence, her voice now more playful than before. Well, then, let's see if you can keep up, Matt. I've got a feeling we're going to be a lot of trouble together. A laugh escaped him, the sound echoing in a quiet room. That's exactly what I'm hoping for. The days that followed were a whirlwind of new experiences. Matt adjusted to life on the colony, finding himself in a world entirely different from anything he had known on Earth. The colony, a mix of advanced technology and alien cultures, was a constant source of wonder and excitement. But amidst all the newness, one thing remained constant: Phoenix. Their bond grew stronger with each passing day, though it wasn't without its challenges. Phoenix, as she had warned him, was not easy to keep up with. Her unpredictable nature and wild spirit often tested Matt's patience, but he found himself fascinated by her strength, her mystery, and the way she carried herself with an unspoken authority. Phoenix, for her part, had always prided herself on her independence, on the walls she had built around her heart over the years. But Matt was different. She couldn't deny that there was something about him, something genuine, something real, that made her question everything she thought she knew about herself. One evening, after a long day of exploring the colony together, they found themselves sitting beneath the stars. The air was cooler now, the sky clear and endless, just like their future. Phoenix leaned back against Matt, her head resting on his shoulder as they gazed up at the stars above them. Do you ever wonder if this is where we're meant to be? She asked softly, her voice carrying a quiet vulnerability. Matt smiled, his fingers gently brushing her hair. I think we're exactly where we're supposed to be, he replied. You and me, out here in the vast unknown, figuring things out together. Phoenix's eyes softened as she looked up at him, her heart swelling with a mixture of emotions she couldn't quite name. She had never allowed herself to rely on anyone, but with Matt, it felt different. He had become her anchor in this foreign world, her constant when everything else felt uncertain. I never thought I'd find someone like you, she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. Matt turned to face her, his hand cupping her cheek gently. And I never thought I'd find someone like you either. But here we are, together. A smile spread across Phoenix's face as she closed her eyes, letting herself soak in the moment. It was peaceful here, in the quiet of the colony, far from the chaos of the past. But the future, the unknown, awaited them. So, what's next for us? Phoenix asked, her voice teasing but with a genuine curiosity. Matt grinned, his heart light with the weight of everything that had happened. Whatever we want it to be. We're not bound by anyone or anything now. She chuckled softly, a wicked glint in her eyes. I think we're going to make a lot of waves, Matt. You and me. I wouldn't have it any other way, he replied, his words full of confidence and warmth. And as they sat there beneath the stars, Matt and Phoenix both knew that their journey had just begun. Together, they were unstoppable, two souls bound by fate, ready to take on whatever the universe had in store for them. With Phoenix by his side, Matt had found not just a partner, but a future filled with possibilities, adventure, and love. And for the first time in a long time, Matt truly felt at home. The next day, as Matt and Phoenix walked through the colony streets, their hands intertwined, they both knew one thing: they were no longer just a guard and a prisoner. They were partners, equals, ready to embrace whatever came next. Together, they were unstoppable. And in that certainty, they found peace.